Hi everybody, welcome back. It's me, I'm Grant, you're my team. You're joining us for chapters 8 to 11 of our Fire Emblem Three Houses Blue Lions playthrough.
Part 1. White Clouds. Red Wolf Moon. The Flame in the Darkness. Hoarfrost now graces treetops and open fields alike, and an icy chill blown in from the north of Faerghus blankets the land. All of Fódlan's creatures begin to settle in for a long winter. The setting sun bathes the full winter coat of every wolf in a foreboding scarlet glow. Hunters can now spread the word that the red wolves are back on the prowl.
That's what we're dealing with. Is there no chance it's an infectious disease?
There are no absolutes in medicine, but the chances are extremely slim.
You're talking about Remire Village, aren't you, Manuela?
Oh my, if it isn't Gerald. Tell me, what was the first thing you heard?
Everything, after you mentioned that it's not likely an infectious disease. My child and I owe the people of Remire Village. If something's happening there, we must help them.
We scouted the area ourselves. Speak with the knights, hear what they have to say. I must go. Thank you for your help, Manuela.
You know, I'm more than willing to go with you to Remire Village. After all, I owe you my life, if you'd like. I bet we could even manage the mission all by ourselves. Just the two of us.
I'm afraid not.
You're saying no? Well, aren't you just a great big bore?
Nice try, but I'll be going to the village as well. Enough nonsense. It's time to move out.
As you like. Goodbye, Gerald. Goodbye, Professor.
I'll be in my office making preparations. What about you? If you have the time, it would be helpful if you could go ahead and talk to the knights. Hey, what's wrong?
I'm okay.
If anything feels off, return to the infirmary. No need to just grin and bear it. Got it?
Ugh, what could have caused such dizziness? I felt it too. Actually, I felt that way before.
I see. So you'll be staying here for some time then. Honestly, I'm surprised. I've heard it's been a few years since you last donated to the church.
That was merely because of the financial situation of my territory. I assure you it has nothing to do with my dedication to the church. By the way, Dimitri, isn't Edelgard currently enrolled at the Officers' Academy as well?
Yes, she's in the Black Eagle House. I don't believe she has any plans to leave anytime soon. Why not pay her a visit?
I may do just that. It's nice to stay in touch with my dear niece every now and then. Of course, I'm also delighted that I was able to speak with my nephew as well. Whether through marriage or otherwise, family is family after all.
Of course. The feeling is mutual. Professor, if you were watching, you should have made your presence known.
Who is that?
That was Lord Arundel, the regent for the Empire. He is also Edelgard's uncle.
An acquaintance of yours? He called you his nephew.
My stepmother was his younger sister. We are not related by blood, but he is technically my uncle.
In other words, so you and Edelgard...
Yes. My stepmother was Edelgard's birth mother. Edelgard and I are siblings by marriage. We can delve into that topic another time. For now, let's make preparations to investigate what's happening in that village.
Oh dear, the princess of the Empire and the kingdom's prince are kin. How very odd.
So that's why he was worried about her. I find it odd as well.
They likely harbor knowledge they do not wish to share. Oh yes, I'm sure of it. But I suppose we must wait until the time of truth arrives. In any case, about this Arundel. You've heard that name before, correct?
In the library.
Quite true. We came across that name within the library, right where the prince had been. I thought that Arundel had died. And yet, not so. He seems alive and well. I wonder what the prince had hoped to learn from reading of his uncle's charity. So many things the prince has yet to tell. How bothersome.
Are you injured?
I do. Saving the day again?
Apologies.
I'm the one who owes you an apology. You've saved my life how many times now? If I keep being so callous, I'll seem ungrateful.
No matter.
But
I'm accustomed to it.
I'm sorry, Didu.
Why?
Because the way I speak to you is unnecessarily harsh. The truth of it is, I lost someone very dear to me in Duscur. The punishment came swift to your people, and when I heard of the slaughters, well, I thought it was a punishment well earned. I thought the people cruel and heartless, deserving of the tragedy that ultimately befell them. But you're different. You seem nothing like the people of whom I speak. So why not speak back against how I and so many others feel? Why not question this unfair prejudice and tell me I haven't the right to hold a grudge against you? If you just speak to me, if you tell me the truth about all of this.
I do not know the truth of it myself. His Highness says the tragedy was not the fault of my people, but just like anywhere, there were many different people in Duscur, some very good, and others very bad. It is not unimaginable that some may have conspired to take part in that wickedness. Perhaps we are merely victims, or perhaps we are regicidal monsters.
Whatever the truth of it is, you are not to blame. The people I hate are the ones who are responsible for that whole mess. You just got caught up in all of it.
Ingrid.
You've rushed to my side. You've saved me countless times. I am sorry for how I've treated you. Truly.
If you think of me as your ally, that will suffice. For me, that is enough.
Sylvain, I want to apologize for the other day.
The other day? What are you talking about, Felix? Is this a trap?
You know, when I called you insatiable.
Oh, that? Can't say it didn't hurt, but you have nothing to apologize for. I mean, you've said worse, Felix. Considerably worse. Come on, we've known each other since we were kids. We're not gonna let your constant verbal abuse get in the way of our friendship, are we?
No, I suppose not.
Whenever I started doing something dumb, you'd yell at me about it.
And whenever you dragged me into something, Ingrid would find out and start lecturing us.
All these years, and not much has changed, has it? But you're different, Felix. You used to be so, I don't know, carefree when we were young. Now you're the exact opposite.
Well, you're not any different. Good for nothing then, good for nothing now.
Again with the abuse. This from the guy who's always been by that good-for-nothing side. So, did you come to apologize, or to insult me?
I was on my way to train and I saw you. That's all.
You're off to train, again? Now who's insatiable?
Better than sitting idle like you.
A little idleness would do you some good, pal. Come on, let me buy you something to eat.
No.
You have to choose, Felix. Our friendship, or your training?
My training. Goodbye for now.
What did... is he... Wait, Felix, I'll come train too. Wait up. Oh, this is delicious. I can't believe I made it.
Yes, you do have some talent.
What's the matter? Have I got something on my face?
No, Sylvain. Recently I've heard rumors about you.
Oh yeah? Which ones? Is it that I'm terrible to girls? Or the rumor where I bring terrible misfortune to the girls I date? I don't, by the way, in case you're about to ask. Oh, I also heard about how I'm total trash and everyone should avoid me. That might be my favorite.
Well, you don't lack for self-awareness.
The way I figure it, if I can't be respected, I can at least be well informed.
You are being described as indefensibly worthless.
Indefensibly? That's a bit harsh.
I already knew your reputation concerning women, but these new rumors deprive you of all redemption. I did try to correct them, but I doubt I was believed.
Well, thank you all the same. Listen, you don't need to worry what people think about me. As you well know, it's not easy to correct misunderstandings or change people's minds. And if I'm going to behave so badly, it seems misunderstandings are inevitable.
I could not be silent. You saw me as a person, rather than merely as someone from Duscur. I want you to be seen as a person too.
I appreciate that, Didu. You think the world will ever see us that way?
Maybe.
I can't tell if you're joking or not, but I like it.
Then we will get along.
Hi, Dadu. I wanted to thank you again for helping me out the other day. Everything was ready in time for dinner, and we all agreed the food was really tasty.
I barely did anything.
That's silly talk. With just a few ingredients, you made an amazing meal. I could never have done it, no way. You deserve all the praise in the world.
I still have much to learn. Truly delicious food brings a smile to people's faces. Until I see His Highness smile in that way, I will spare no effort to improve.
Well, if that's your aim, you're in luck. I've seen him shovel in your food with gusto. You must be really ambitious if you're not satisfied with that meal. I'd love for you to teach me your ways. I want to be a great cook too.
Your skills are not the problem. You merely make errors of negligence.
Well, sure, I know that. But how can I stop making those errors? No matter how hard I try, I always seem to mess things up. The pan explodes when I cook. I forget my purse when I go shopping. That's just how life is for a scatterbrain like me. Just the other day, I was nearly laughed off the training ground for wearing mismatched shoes. My uncle used to sigh in despair when he saw me messing something up.
You simply fail to pay attention to your surroundings. Ensure the pan is on the flame and that the knives are put away properly. Look at yourself in the mirror before you go out to make certain you have what you need. Everyone makes mistakes, but yours should be easy enough to correct.
That's all great advice. Thank you, Dadu. You really have a kind heart. At first I thought you were so stern all the time.
Am I that imposing?
Well, a bit. Maybe if you smiled sometimes. All you have to do is lift up the corners of your mouth. Like this. See?
I see. I will try it.
Apologies for my late arrival, Mercedes. My duties ran long, as per usual.
There's no need to apologize at all. Please, have a seat. We've met for tea so many times, but you never seem to get used to it, do you, Ingrid?
Not entirely, no. I'm not accustomed to being treated so delicately. Anyway, what will we talk about today?
I actually wanted to gripe about something that's been bothering me.
You? Gripe? Now that's unusual. I'm happy to listen, of course. It's the least I can do after all the kindness you've shown me.
Thank you. The one thing I really wanted to talk about is marriage.
Oh?
Yes. I received a letter from my adoptive father about marriage discussions with a noble family.
And will you accept?
That's the problem. No matter what I decide, I'll probably be married off anyway. What I really want to do is help those in need, but I think it would be more difficult to do so if I married a nobleman.
Understandably so. Sounds to me like you need a strategy to silence your father.
Sorry? To silence him?
Don't you agree? It seems the best course of action would be to consider severing all ties with the family and running away.
We don't need to go that far. I'm sorry. I really just needed to let that out. I don't need you to worry about solving my problems.
Oh, okay. It's just a bit personal for me, actually. My own father has brought countless marriage proposals to my attention. He always was obsessed with me carrying on the family bloodline. At a very young age, my hand had already been promised to someone in marriage. But Glenn died young.
That must have been difficult for you. Would you have married him if he had survived?
That's a good question. It's hard to imagine now, although I did admire him quite a lot. He held true to the ideals of knighthood, proudly serving the king. Even after all these years, I aspire to be the type of knight that he embodied. But that's just it. I'm not a tool for furthering my family's fortunes. I'm a knight at heart, regardless of what my father desires.
I see. A very noble cause indeed. How strange that we should be worrying about the same thing.
Even though we are such different people.
It's true. Enjoying a nice chat over tea with you like this makes me realize maybe the paths we walk aren't so different after all.
I do. These tea parties of ours, they really are something special.
That they are. Ingrid, I would love to get to know you better if that's okay. I want to know about your childhood, your favorite books, the sweets you like, anything at all.
Absolutely. I'm happy to speak with you anytime. And I want to know you better too, Mercedes.
We've got to go. Now.
Okay.
The situation in Ramire village has changed drastically. We don't know much more than that. We're hearing reports that the villagers are killing each other. Some say houses are burning. Regardless, we need to move. Kill! Kill!
Help! Somebody please help!
What's going on here?
What's wrong with you? Are you okay?
Don't worry about me. I'm fine. Don't waste your time on me. Saving the villagers is far more important. We haven't a moment to lose.
What can we do amid such confusion?
We'll have to take up arms against the villagers who are rampaging. If we strike carefully, it should be possible to spare their lives.
Oh dear. Isn't there a more peaceful way to deal with this? No matter how long it takes, we'll need to check and rescue them all, one at a time.
Those who have gone mad may be victims themselves. Is it possible to save them?
Well, saving the poor people who aren't crazy is definitely our top priority. Let's get on with it.
Slow down, Annette. It won't do anyone any good if we panic and get injured ourselves.
Isn't that... Your Highness, suspicious figures spotted in the village. They seem to be watching the chaos.
Are they the ones responsible for this madness? If so, it's clear what must be done. Kill them all. Don't let a single one of them escape. Sever their limbs and crush their wicked skulls!
We don't need to hear him speak about that because we've played this chapter before. We know the mechanics. Save the people, you know, kill the commander, all that stuff. But because it's chapter 8...
Leave it to me.
Excuse me while I just have a good stretch. Oh, there we go. Right, because it's chapter 8, it does mean that there's an opportunity to grab a dark seal, and because we've already got one for Sylvain, because he's already a dark mage, we need to pick up the second one so that we can turn him into a dark bishop. Meaning that then he can get Life Taker, and that's one of the endgame skills that I want for him. Yay.
I'll cut through.
Dimitri is a hero because he's working on his Defiant Strength skill.
I'll give it my all.
Ash is working towards Mercenary at this point. Well, working towards Vantage in Mercenary. There you go.
I am Ferdinand von Eyre.
I know this and I love you.
Stay focused.
Byleth's a thief, and that's mainly so that she can actually just get the growths in speed that she needs when as she's leveling up. Because when she hits Enlightened One, we're not changing a class from that point.
Not so fast!
Or at least I don't have any intention to.
Let's try this.
The one giving orders to the others. Isn't that Tomas, the librarian? Time is now.
Yay. See, it's okay when I do this. It's okay when I use gambits.
As expected.
Tomas! Who's next?
No hesitation. Each battle, a chance to grow.
I'm indebted.
You are but a savage, insignificant beast. Yet you think you can kill me? This is the end!
Don't have time for this! I just worked harder.
rescued...
You underestimated me.
As expected.
Outmatched. You underestimated me.
And the Death Knight's here. Lysithia, you know what you gotta do, cause you gotta get your ass up there, hit him with the Dark Spikes T, pop his ass, and get Sylvain promoted. Thanks.
Get away. That doesn't matter now. Our top priority is to kill Solon. I must keep...
Why have you gone after this village? What are you planning?
I could have conducted this experiment on any test subjects. Now that I have what I came for, I must bid you farewell.
Wait! Damn it, he's gone.
I will survey the village. There may still be some survivors.
Looks like we somehow managed to sort things out, and casualties were kept to a minimum. They said they weren't picky about who they used as their test subjects. Because of them, the people of Ramire Village.
There you are.
That armor. So, you're the Flame Emperor.
Yes. I believe you have met my subordinate, the Death Knight.
Oh, we've met all right. But back to you. You're the one responsible for the destruction of this village.
Do not get the wrong idea.
What in blazes does that mean?
It is true that I am working with Solon, but that does not mean our objectives are the same. Had I known they planned to do this, I would have stopped it. You have my word.
Your words are meaningless. Now, I'll have to insist that you accompany us back to the monastery.
I cannot abide that. However, if you wish to join forces, I will hear your plea.
What?
If left to their own devices, they will commit countless more violent acts like this one. Do you not wish to prevent that? With the sword of the Creator on our side, Solon would not be a threat.
I must refuse.
Pity, though not unexpected. Pray that you do not live to regret your choice.
Gerald, Professor, have you seen His Highness?
What's wrong, kid? Huh? Oh, damn it! He's gone. Hey, I've been meaning to talk to you. Since coming to the monastery, you've changed.
Changed? How so?
You've been angry since we first arrived in Remire village, and you look so happy when you're instructing
Changed?
the brats.
How so?
Before the monastery, I'd never seen you bear your emotions like that. Not once.
You might be right. It's thanks to the students.
Then perhaps it's a good thing we came to the monastery. If only so I could see your face lit up like that. Or maybe there was never any reason for us to leave the monastery in the first place.
A reason to leave? Wasn't I born after you left the monastery?
I've put my foot in my mouth, haven't I? Though I suppose it may be nearly that time. Come to my office when you next have a moment to spare. There's something I need to tell you.
Just what was that about? I can't recall a time of old when you were at the monastery. I wonder what is hiding in the mist that is your past.
Professor, I'm sorry you saw that side of me in the village. It must have been quite a shock to you and the others. I'm mortified by my behavior. When I saw the chaos and violence there, my mind just went completely dark.
I felt the same. You weren't yourself.
I see why you would say that. I always strive to keep my emotions at bay, but sometimes the darkness takes hold and it's impossible to suppress. It just shows you how lacking I am. I have much to learn. I've told you before that someday we may find ourselves facing something we simply cannot accept. That's what the chaos in Remire village was to me. Solon and the Flame Emperor are both beasts who must be eliminated. Demons who kill the innocent. They aren't even human at this point.
The Flame Emperor said he wasn't involved. Where is this anger coming from?
It must be hard to fathom. It's true that I don't have any strong connection to those villagers. And yet... You see, Professor, I saw the same flames of torment just 4 years ago. In Duscur.
Please, have mercy! The pain! Make the burning stop! Help me! Somebody!
Avenge us! Those who killed us! Tear them apart! Destroy them all!
My father, my stepmother, 4 years ago, they lost their lives to those flames. I'll never forget. I still remember their faces, their screams, the tortured last moments of every person who died that day. But right now, all that matters is that we do whatever we can to help the surviving villagers get back to their normal lives. Thank you for everything. There's a reason that I came to the Officers' Academy. Just one reason. I came here for revenge. And one day, I will have it.
The music cut.
You did well handling that awful business in the Mire village. I am certain the goddess shares in our belief at the senselessness
I shouldn't
of
laugh,
that
but...
calamity. More importantly, I was shocked to hear that our own Tomas was actually a dark mage. I must reflect on our blindness.
You surely must. You failed to notice that a rat was hiding in your home. Pathetic! Who are these wicked foes? How did Tomas escape your gaze?
Who are these villains?
Tomas came to the monastery 40 years ago, by recommendation of House Ordelia of the Alliance. Around 8 years ago, he went back to House Ordelia, before returning to the monastery once again, just last year. After having worked at Garreg for decades, why would he betray us now? Just what did he hope to accomplish? Yuritsa became a professor at the Officers' Academy because of a recommendation from the Imperial nobility. Supposing that he is the Death Knight, that means that our enemy is an organization that has taken root in at least 2 territories.
In the long history of the Church of Seiros, no, long before even that, there have been an endless number of threats to the peace of Fódlan. Yet those who oppose us still operate in the shadows.
Their identity's a mystery. I believe that Fódlan and the Death Knight are merely one part of a much larger whole.
A threat to Fódlan's peace? That means we have no choice. We have to stop them all.
What now? They must be stopped.
I have truly come to rely on you. I believe that the monastery will remain safe so long as we have you. We do not yet know the enemy's objective or whereabouts. For now, please devote yourself to preparing for whatever comes next.
That is all for today.
Professor, please wait. I know there is much that you still do not understand. However, one thing is clear. You possess great power. I believe that you are destined to be a source of great hope for all. In any case, I expect great things from you. Walk this world proudly, dear Professor. May the goddess Sothis protect you.
The goddess Sothis? Is that what she just said?
Is something the matter?
I've never heard the name of the goddess. It's nothing.
I see. In that case, farewell.
Do not say something that we may regret. What exactly am I? For now, let's leave this place. Please, go!
Part 1. White Clouds. Ethereal Moon. The Cause of Sorrow. Though most stars will still glimmer in the crisp winter air, the blue sea star has gone back into hiding. Legend states that the goddess prays for peace from her home in the heavens. In the town of Garreg-Mach, the anniversary of the monastery's completion nears, and the people's prayers intensify ahead of the Millennium Festival, still 5 years hence.
We are planning a grand ball for this month. I'm sure the students will be most pleased.
Yes, certainly. However, we must not devote all of our time to frivolity. We have a new mission for you. We have found evidence of someone sneaking into an unused chapel.
A chapel?
It is a building that was once a temporary sanctuary, at a time when the monastery was under renovation.
This month, your class is tasked with guarding the chapel and investigating these intruders. With the recent state of affairs surrounding the Holy Church, we cannot afford to overlook any abnormality, no matter how seemingly trivial.
I am ordering a seasoned knight to assist you to ensure the safety of the students. In times like these, I am afraid we must always expect the worst.
That's reassuring.
Reporting for duty, Lady Rhea.
I thought you two could use the time to bond. And to speak of important matters.
Appreciate the thought.
Bear in mind that Geralt has a separate mission of his own. He will join you once he has finished it.
It's true. I'll be away from the monastery for a while. But when I return, I'll come and watch you work. I'll be looking forward to it.
There you are. I was looking for you. I need a favor.
It's unusual for you to ask for help.
Yes, it's an unusual favor. My father sent a messenger. He wants me to return to Fraldarius' territory.
Your father?
Rodriga Shiel Fraldarius, the highest-ranking member
Your
of the
father?
Faerghus nobility. I believe you've met him. So I heard. But about the favor. You're familiar with the Tragedy of Duscur, I presume?
I am.
After the king's death, public order disintegrated. Bandits continue to raid villages across the kingdom, including those within Fraldarius' territory. My father says he needs my help driving the bandits away.
And you want me to join you?
Precisely. Good guess. Perhaps I shouldn't pull you into this. It stems from my family's failure to secure the region. But honestly, I want to see you in action. I never tire of watching you fight. And it'll be much more interesting for you than the training ground. Or maybe this task, driving off bandits, seems dull to a former mercenary?
I'll join you.
Excellent. While I'm at it, I have a second favor to ask of you. Could you recruit more fighters? I bet there will be willing volunteers if you're the woman. I'll set off on my own and meet up with you there.
Felix Paralog.
Struggling to defeat some bandits? What a pathetic old man my father is. Some villagers are trapped. Let's help them escape.
Felix, my son, you finally brought reinforcements.
Rescue the villagers being attacked by bandits and get them off the battlefield. That's all these green bitches.
Here goes.
Stridenet.
My thanks.
Leave it to me.
Stay focused.
So the reward for doing this paralog is the Aegis Shield. A shield that gives you Aegis. Yay. Well, it's got Aegis built into it, so that you don't have to master Paladin. Or carry Thyrsus.
Doing my part.
Ready.
I'm not.
I am Ferdinand von Eyre.
I will not hold back. The mark of nobility.
I'm glad I can count on you.
Here we go.
I'll cut through.
I'll go.
I'm on it.
What should I do? Had to be done.
I aim for greatness.
This is it!
Weak. Ineffective. Weak.
Should I have held back? You fought well.
Try to keep up! Everything will be fine. Good people of this hamlet, escape while you can. On my family's honor! You can't win! Prepare yourself!
expected.
Too easy.
No hard feelings.
The stronghold is ours. No more bandits should come crawling out of here.
I will not let you interfere with my plan. Cut them to ribbons, boys.
I must steel myself. My lessons are complete. That was tough.
Could have been better, could have been worse.
That should do it. We've chased those ruffians away for good.
Thank you so much for your assistance. Please, accept this small gift as thanks.
We are grateful for your help. I doubt those bandits will stop anytime soon. But at least this village is safe. This village was important to the late king. If we hadn't saved it, I wouldn't have been able to face his majesty.
How foolish.
Pardon?
We were protecting your subjects, not your ego. I don't give a damn as to whether you can bring yourself to face a dead king.
I will not tolerate such language from you.
I came here to hone my blade and to save innocent people. I suppose if I had died, you would say the same thing you did after Glenn's death. He died like a true knight. I have nothing more to say. I'm going back.
I'm sorry you had to see that. He's been that way for 4 years now. Of course, I understand his sentiment, to some extent. It all comes down to, well, a difference of opinion.
I understand Felix as well.
So that's how you feel about it. How fortunate Felix is to have met someone like you. There's nothing as heartening as having someone around who really understands you. He's an odd boy, thick-headed in some ways, but he's my son all the same. I'm glad he has you to look after him.
There you are. I have a request for you.
A request?
It has to do with that plot to assassinate Lady Rhea. The bishop leading the Western Church was somehow involved. Enough is enough. So now the Knights of Seiros have been tasked with putting the bishop down. I thought you and your students could come with us.
Why would you want us to help? Why for such an important mission?
Because you wield the Sword of the Creator. Lady Rhea is going to personally execute the bishop. I have been appointed as her guard. I want your help protecting her. So, what do you say? Will you come?
Excuse me. I'd like to come along.
Ash, you were listening in? It's not up to you whether you can come along.
Please, this is important to me.
Your adoptive father, Lord Lonato, had connections to the Western Church. I understand that you want answers, but our objective is to punish, not to investigate. We can't let you jeopardize the mission.
I won't get in the way. I promise.
What do you say, Professor? Keep in mind, we would be bringing the whole class, not just Ash.
We'll go.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I guess it's fine. Get ready then.
There she is. The sneaky little witch, trying to pass herself off as the goddess's envoy. Archbishop Rhea, I'll bring judgment upon you in the goddess's stead.
They're using the fog as cover to ambush us. What a cheap ploy.
It won't do any good to get annoyed, Catherine. That voice. We are up against a faction of bishops.
They've shown themselves at least, so we won't have to go to the trouble of finding them. All right, you got a death wish? Come at me! You really want to fight against Thunder, Catherine? Please, Professor, don't let Lady Rhea get hurt. Our mission isn't just to wipe out all the enemies, but also to protect Lady Rhea. Ready?
Defensive chapter. Defensive chapter that rewards you for playing offensively. I don't like to just huddle around Rhea because some real nasty pieces of work are living in this wood. Well, wood, forest, cliffside, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's a steep drop down there. Long story short, there's some advanced classes here, like Warlock.
I am Ferdinand von Eyre.
I know and I love you, Ferdy.
I'll cut through.
And honestly, it can just be annoying if you let everybody converge upon you.
I'm on it.
So fan out, spread, cover as much territory as you can, see as much as you can. Also bring torches.
Leave it to me.
Bring torches, because if you don't bring torches, this map's gonna be torture. Ha 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 ha.
Be gone.
I'm stuck.
You underestimated me.
That is that.
What's next?
Ha! I had no choice. Aw. Here it goes! Yeah! Oh, it's not over yet. Looking good.
Yeah! This was beneath me. Over already.
Lenato's blood is on your hands.
Were you Lord Lenato's page or something? Indeed, he was a devout believer. All we did was provide Lord Lenato salvation from his misery.
Salvation? You used him and threw him away.
Lady Rhea! Hold the line! Don't let them attack Lady Rhea again!
You're weak. I can... Why am I even here?
Fighting is what I do. Where do I start. I'll never back down. Is that all? Repent from the grave! All for Lady Rhea.
The fight continues.
I will...
Worthless.
You're weak. Another win.
Can't take much more.
You were outmatched.
Let's keep our guard up. That...
I am Ferdinand von Eyre.
I'll give it my all.
What should I do?
Here we go. It's not over yet. That should... Here goes.
Stay focused.
I'll cut through.
It forced me. I'll crush them all. I'll crush them all. I'll crush them all.
Stay focused.
Leave it to me.
Of course I won.
I am Ferdinand von Eyre.
I'll give it my all.
What should I do?
Here we go. Oh, I won. That... Here goes.
I'll cut through.
Stay focused.
I'll crush them all. I'll never back down.
I'm on it. I like...
I'll go.
I'll cut through.
I'll give it my all.
I am Ferdinand von Eyre.
I'm starting.
Apostates, you sully the name of the goddess!
You are the apostates! The goddess is with me!
What should I do?
Leave it to me. Here we go!
Here goes!
Too easy. Strong.
It seems that taking out the priest has stopped the reinforcements coming over here. We should be able to stop the reinforcements coming from the other side by taking care of the other priest.
Move carefully.
Leave it to me. Yeah.
Stay focused. Here goes!
I'll crush them all.
Here we go.
I'm on it.
Leave it to me.
By the grace of the goddess.
I'll do my best.
I won't hold back.
Goddess, have mercy. Forgive them their sins, and save their souls.
It would have been better if we'd captured the bishop, but they didn't make it easy for us. What now, Lady Rhea?
We must go to the headquarters of the Western Church. Perhaps there is still someone there who knows what has transpired.
Let us help too. It may not be much, but we'll do whatever we can.
I am sure you will be a great help. I am glad to have you by my side.
Thanks, Professor. I really appreciated your help with the investigation. That's it for today. Head back to Garreg Mach. The church will have to choose a new bishop and do whatever else is necessary to rebuild the Western Church. Lady Rhea is grateful to all of you. She said she would send along a reward. You should feel very proud. Receiving a gift directly from Lady Rhea is exceedingly rare. Still, that was a real mess, huh? For them to come out and charge us so boldly.
I'm glad we made it out.
As am I. We kept Lady Rhea safe, thanks to you. Hey, where did Ash go?
No idea. He couldn't still be back there, could he?
That may be it. There you are, Ash. We were just talking about... Why the brooding expression? Hey, what's that bundle of papers in your hand?
This was given to me. It has to do with my family.
Given to you? Is this about Lord Lonato?
I haven't finished reading it all yet, but I think it might offer some clues about something I need to know. Professor, Catherine, thank you for letting me come with you on this mission. I'd better get ready to go.
It's a little painful to watch. I do hope that those papers, whatever they are, will help him get over his past. I suppose it's time for us to start heading back to the monastery.
This is the only ball of the year, and I see why. Everyone is absurdly excited.
Your Highness, you sound so detached. We are all encouraged to enjoy the ball tomorrow.
Right you are. What a burden.
Huh. I never thought we'd see eye to eye, but I agree. I'd rather be swinging my blade than wasting my time with some girl at a ball.
Felix, Your Highness, you must be joking, right? This is our chance to dance with all of the ladies of the Academy to our heart's content. You wish to throw away the best day of the whole year for sword practice? Insanity, I tell you.
I'm pretty excited about the ball myself. It's not like we get to do things like this very often.
Too true, Ash. In fact, I'm going to do you a favor and give you a crash course in chatting up girls. By tomorrow, you'll be an expert.
Actually, I'd much prefer if someone could just teach me how to dance.
Don't worry about the dancing part. I can teach you that easy. It's time for the ball. That warrants at least a tiny bit of makeup, don't you think, Ingrid? Just a smidge.
Maybe. I'll think about it.
It's settled. Tomorrow morning we'll meet up in Ingrid's room. Ooh, I can't wait!
You know, there's no telling where life will take us after we leave here. If only we could find a way to come together again, just like this.
A fine notion, Your Highness. Perhaps 5 years from now?
5 years from now? Ah, that's when Garreg Mach Monastery will be holding its Millennium Festival.
By then, we'll be addressing Your Highness as Your Majesty instead.
That's right. I suppose we all know it's coming, but by then you'll be far removed from us.
Come now, you know me better than that. My title may change, but I won't. And it won't just be me, you know. 5 years from now, you'll all have your own stuffy positions to contend with. But as I understand it, the festivities at the Millennium Festival will be of a scale far beyond anything we've yet seen. In other words, the perfect excuse for all of us to return here.
Ooh, a reunion? That sounds fun! I wouldn't miss it for the world.
I'd love for you to be there as well, Professor. After all, you're the heart of the Blue Lion House.
I'll be there.
Good. Then it's settled. Of course, if something happens and I'm not able to attend, I'm leaving all of the logistics of organizing this reunion to you, Professor.
You have to attend.
It's true. I'm sure being a king will keep you busy, but it's a bit early to be backing out of your own plans, don't you think?
Yes, I suppose you're right. I'm sorry. You have my word. I will return as well.
Running away? I understand. You hardly had the time to breathe in there. It must be hard to be the favorite teacher at the ball. Poor professor.
I am not everyone's. It is difficult.
So you do think you're the favorite? I might have known.
Professor, what are you doing here?
Aren't you going to dance with Edelgard? Aren't you going to dance with Claude?
Good one, Professor. I could see saving a dance for Edelgard, but Claude is another story. In any case, I have no intention of dancing with anyone. As a child, Edelgard taught me how to dance. It was a bit awkward, honestly.
Edelgard? As a child?
I've told you before that we're siblings by marriage, haven't I? Her birth mother was my stepmother, although I didn't know that at the time. My stepmother treated me with such kindness, just as though I were her own flesh and blood. And yet she never so much as hinted that she had her own child. Edelgard. We were born and raised in different territories, without ever knowing the other even existed. Yet, against all odds, for just over a year, we became childhood friends.
Friends? Not siblings?
Indeed. Unaware of each other's stations or backgrounds, we met and became incredibly close. This was when she and Lord Arundel were living in the kingdom.
Why were they in the kingdom?
They were in exile. This was a time of great turmoil within the Empire. I ran into her when visiting Lord Arundel's residence with my father. She seemed quite bored with everything. At first, I found her to be difficult and stubborn. But that facade quickly fell away, revealing her true self beneath. That's around the time when she taught me how to dance. Her instruction was, oh, let's call it strict, to put it nicely.
You're supposed to lead with your right.
Hell, the sun's going down. I really ought to be heading home.
That 1 year before she had to return to the Empire was so much fun. The time of my life in many ways. It's kind of pathetic to think about it all these years later. But can you guess what I gave her as a parting gift?
A dagger?
Huh. Good guess, Professor. But I swear, it came from the heart. In Faerghus, we've long considered blades as tools of destiny, as a way to cut a path to a better future. She was being dragged all over, unable to live the life she wanted. I thought the dagger could help her cut a path to the future she dreamed of. However, that was many years ago. I'm sure she's forgotten all about the boy I was back then.
It's not too late to reconnect.
I'm afraid it's far too late for that. Things are different now. She's different. I'm different. Anyway, I'm feeling a bit out of place here. Festivities like this don't suit me. Still, I suppose I should get back in there. Goodbye, Professor.
But where is there to run? This place is filled with joyful students looking for a dance. Ah, I see. The Goddess Tower waits for you.
Huh.
Hello, Professor. I just needed a quick break from the festivities. Fancy running into you here.
You followed me, didn't you? What a nice coincidence.
Yes, a coincidence. Anyway, seeing you here, I cannot help but recall the legend of the Goddess Tower. It is said that when a man and a woman meet here by chance on the night of the ball, their paths become one. The goddess blesses them and ensures a harmonious union.
I heard it differently. Are you sure that's the legend?
Indeed, that is how it goes. Or at least, that is the version I heard. How long have we known each other now? About 9 months, by my count. The passage of time is swift indeed. Listen, I need to tell you something. After I graduate, I must pass stern judgment on my father. His greed got the better of him. He has strayed far from the righteous path. As the next Duke Eyre, I will succeed him as Prime Minister, and it will fall to me to hold him accountable. Only then can I justly guide the Empire's subjects and work to create a better world. That is my dream, my will, and my future. I pray that I will have the courage to fulfill my solemn duty, and that I will have your support.
Of course. I'm with you.
Thank you. Knowing that you are on my side, I feel unstoppable. Well, shall we head back? Plenty of people must be wondering where you went. Specifically, the legions of men who would like to dance with you. To be honest, I count myself among them.
You can have me. You can have me. Ferdy! Crawl up in my butt, pussy. I love Ferdy so much.
It seems that everyone is having a delightful time. Will you not dance some more?
I'm tired.
How dull of you. Had I a body of my own? Oh, I would sing and dance until I fell upon the ground. But you? Do as you will. Oh, you're not the only one who feels that way. Look over there. I'm bored beyond compare. Will you not follow her?
Why would I?
Oh, come on, hurry up. I know that you are curious to see what she is up to. I hear someone singing from over there. Song. I feel that I have heard it in the past. Actually, it is not that I have heard it. Did I once sing that song to someone? No. There's more. I wrote this song. Oh, but how could that be so? If that were true, then how could she be singing it? Unless... No. I am suddenly so exhausted. As are you, no doubt? Quickly then, to bed with you.
Why, Lenato? Oh, hey, Felix.
I suppose your thoughts are still with Lord Lenato.
I'm fine. I'm just frustrated by how little I was able to do. I know he was trying to protect me, but Lenato never really told me anything. In the end, I don't think I understood his feelings at all. You said it yourself. Be more moderate in your passions. To me, he always seemed like a knight out of a story, and I was so caught up in my ideals. I turned a blind eye to his sadness, his hatred, even when they were right in front of me. I guess I'm pretty far from real knighthood, huh?
Perhaps. Yet knowing someone well does not mean you know how they feel, whether family or friend. To know someone's sorrow and turn blindly from it, that is the act of a fool. But pursuing your ideals is not foolish.
But before, you said...
I said to be moderate in your passions, not to abandon your ideals. It's okay to be who you are.
Thank you. Hearing you say that means a lot.
Ah, I almost forgot. You lent me this.
Oh, the book I lent you. I'm guessing you hated it?
Actually, I already knew the story. My brother used to read it to me all the time.
Must have dug up some old feelings, then.
I suppose.
That's just what I'd expect the knight in the story to say. It's not just the way you talk, either. It's who you are as a person, deep down.
Well, I think you're like the squire in the book. He's only half a knight, but he's bold and gregarious, and he always does his best. Don't stop being that half-knight, okay?
You got it. I'll become the kind of knight only I can be.
Hello, Felix. So, it was your turn to clean out the greenhouse, right?
Yes.
Well, I went ahead and took care of it. I also cleaned up the warehouse.
Why?
I just wanted to help you out. So that... Okay, fine. I'm bribing you. So you'll forget.
Forget what?
Are you really gonna make me say it? Before, in the greenhouse, I want you to forget what you saw and heard. If you agree to forget about it, I'll take your shift in the stables. Do we have a deal?
No thanks.
No? But that's not okay! You have to forget about it, right this moment!
I can't. It's permanently etched in my memory. A mountain of sweets, as well as steaks and cakes. Stacks of them, apparently. I'm also intrigued by those bear and swamp beastie songs you mentioned. Ah, and I've been meaning to ask about the move that went along with crumbs and yums. Was that fencing footwork?
Oh, stop it, Felix! You're a villain!
Hmm?
You think you're so funny? Keeping a straight face while mocking my singing and dancing? Well, you have to forget about it! Please! What if I make you a nice steak dinner? You like steak, don't you, Felix? It'll be yummy!
This isn't about steak.
Fine! Be stubborn! Tell the whole world for all I care! I'll just learn to live with the funny looks I'll get from everyone. They'll all say, there goes that Annette, the girl with the funny ideas about food. You're just the evilest of villains, Felix! I'll hate you forever and ever!
I was just trying to be nice. Funny ideas about food. Even the bullies in her head are ridiculous. I really don't understand that girl.
Captain? Captain! Where are you? Hey, Professor, have you seen your old man? Too bad. I guess it will have to be you then.
I'm back. Sorry for the delay. My last mission took longer than expected.
Captain! Thank goodness you're here. There are reports of demonic beasts near the chapel.
Nonsense. I haven't heard anything about the monastery's walls being breached.
That's why I'm heading there now, to see what's really going on. You'll join as well, won't you?
Of course. We're both sworn to protect this place.
Where did they come from?
It's odd. Just before they appeared, someone saw a number of students heading toward the chapel. They were apparently acting strange, as though they weren't in their right minds. Shortly after, demonic beasts started to appear, one after another.
Are the students safe?
The students. There's no way those demonic beasts got in from the outside. But none of that matters right now. We need to act. Go summon your students. Damn it. I wanted to talk to you about something important, but there's no time. There's never any damn time. But this is much more urgent, so it can hold for now. I'll meet you there. They're really...
What should I do?
Here goes! Apologies.
Let's begin.
Here we go! Leave it to me. Yeah. This is what I do.
The demonic beasts were actually students. How can this be?
Thank you! But my friends who couldn't get away, are they okay?
I'll cut through. I am Ferdinand von Eyre.
Stay focused.
You are delicious and I love you so much.
not hold back!
No hesitation!
I'm on it.
Gonna need you to move!
You out of luck.
I'm impressed.
I'll give it my all.
I'll go.
That beast. There's a stone or something on its forehead.
Splendor of nobility! Don't underestimate!
That is that.
I was so scared. I'll find a way to repay you. I promise.
Saw that coming. Is that all?
Sorry. That was a close one.
You saved me! Thank you.
There isn't a trace of evidence to be found in the chapel. This must have something to do with Remire. Perhaps...
Wait!
Huh? Another student? Run along now.
Thanks for all your help, sir. You're just a pathetic old man. How dare you get in the way of my brilliant plan, you dog.
Run along now.
Thanks for all your help, sir.
here?
You must survive, merely because there is still a role that I require you to fulfill.
Sorry. It looks like I'm going to have to leave you now. To think that the first time I saw you cry, your tears would be for me. It's sad, and yet I'm happy for it. Thank you, kid.
So this is where your father lived. Are you still crying? If turning back the hands of time was not enough to save his life, you must accept what came to pass was fate.
Our enemies will pay.
Agreed. We cannot let the wicked ones run free. Oh, your father said to look for something here. He must have been referring to whatever is behind that bookcase there. Your father's diary. Huh. His handwriting is prettier than his face would suggest. Well, well. These entries here are from before your birth. He seems to have been writing this for quite some time. Oh. Read that part there. Horsebow Moon, year 1159.
Day 20 of the Horsebow Moon. All is cloudy. I can't believe she's dead. Lady Rhea said she died during childbirth. But is that the truth? And still, the child she traded her life for doesn't make a sound. Didn't even cry at birth. Day 25 of the Horsebow Moon. It's raining. The baby doesn't laugh or cry. Not ever. Lady Rhea says not to worry about a baby that doesn't cry. It isn't natural. I had a doctor examine the child in secret. He said the pulse is normal, but there's no heartbeat. No heartbeat. Day 2 of the Wyvern Moon. Sunny. I feel I must take the child and leave, but the church is always watching us. I don't know what Lady Rhea has planned. I used to think the world of Lady Rhea. Now I'm terrified of her. Day 8 of the Wyvern Moon. More rain. I used the fire that broke out last night to fake the child's death. Lady Rhea is in a state over the news, but I can't change what I've done. I've got to take the child and leave.
Well now, that baby must be you. That means... Someone is approaching us.
There you are. Lady Rhea is looking for you, Professor. And after your audience, why don't you join me at the dining hall? You haven't eaten since it happened, have you? Forgive me. I suppose it's too soon to try and coax you back into the normal swing of things. As for what happened to Gerald, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I couldn't do anything to stop it. Stay here until you've found some peace. I'll cover for you with Lady Rhea and everyone else.
Thank you.
We'll be waiting for you whenever you're ready to return to us. I don't believe it's a sign of strength to just keep moving forward no matter what. Taking the time to grieve for those we've lost. There's strength in that too. That's what I think anyway. That said, it's also important to remember that no matter how sad you are, eventually your tears will dry up. That's when you have to figure out what it is you're living for. Then you can cling to that with all your might and start moving forward again.
What I'm living for?
4 years ago in Duscur, I experienced the same pain you're feeling now. My father was the strongest man I knew. Someone I loved and admired deeply. That day, he was killed before my eyes. His head severed clean off. My stepmother, the kindest person I had ever known, left me behind and disappeared into the infernal flames. Everyone who I considered precious, my family and my closest friends, I couldn't save any of them. Not a single one. Now, the burden of the work they left behind falls on me. I must ensure they have no regrets. That's my duty as the sole survivor of the tragedy. It's a heavy burden, but accepting it gave me the strength to pick myself up off the ground and start moving again. Gerald is gone. It's a heavy burden, but accepting it gave me the strength to pick myself up off the ground and start moving again. Start living again. Gerald is gone. So what will you do now, Professor? What must you do? Look deep in your heart, and I'm certain you'll find the answer there. Indelible and inescapable. I've probably bothered you enough for today, but I have just one more thought to leave you with. Even now, Seteth is gathering the knights to begin a full-scale search for the enemy. It may not be right away, but before long they will find their trail. No matter what happens or what anyone may say, know that I plan to stand by you, Professor. Through anything. Until the bitter end.
Well, did you search deep within yourself as he suggested? And did you find yourself some answers? This book is filled with secrets yet unknown. We must return another time to read the rest. Oh, but I have at least figured one thing out. I know now why our fates are intertwined.
Professor, I have been waiting for you. I am filled with grief at the loss of our most celebrated knight. Gerald was an ally of many years, and also a dear friend.
When did you meet?
It was a long while back. At the time, Gerald was a soldier of the kingdom. He was injured in battle, and I saved him just as he was about to perish. That was our first meeting. After that, he became a knight of Seiros. He gave his all in service of the church.
Why did he leave the knights?
He fell in love with one of the nuns here at Garreg-Mach. Their love produced a child, whom she died giving birth to. It was her decision. She weighed her own life against that of her child's and, in the end, implored me to save the child. Your father never truly accepted that decision. He took the child, took you, and disappeared without warning.
Who was my mother? Did I inherit my crest from my mother?
Your mother. She was my...
Sorry for the interruption, Lady Rhea. There's something you must hear immediately. A report from the knights patrolling the area.
Very well. Professor, you are dismissed for the day. Please rest and focus only on mending your heart. Understood?
Part 1. White Clouds. Guardian Moon. Where the goddess dwells. Long ago, the guardian Seiros made an appearance during this moon. She had been summoned by the goddess, whose soul was suffering as the flames of war raged across Fódlan. Some believe that high in the sky above Seiros, the Immaculate One's mighty wings are what powered the strong winds carrying the Guardian and her forces into battle.
What are you doing at this hour? Oh, I know. You are eavesdropping. I must admit that I approve.
Professor, we must remain quiet.
I see. The Flame Emperor and Monica. And the mage who rescued Monica.
It's time for revenge. What is that guy's name?
I don't know, but if we keep listening, we might be able to find out.
An unexpected chance to hear their plans. Patience, patience.
Oh, thank you. You saved me.
If you were to die, then the mystery of our bodies would be revealed. Preventing that was my only aim. I'm afraid you must remain, Kronya. There is something I need you to do.
Oh, of course. I am always happy to cooperate with Fódlan. Leave it to me.
How annoying. Flame Emperor, is she offending you? Unfortunately, we cannot take our eyes off her, so there is nothing to be done. You are our greatest creation. We use the defiled beast's blood as the fuel to your flame, that you may burn even the gods. Now is the time to cleanse Fódlan with that power and bring forth our salvation.
There will be no salvation for you and your kind. Those responsible for such gruesome deeds in Duscur and Enmar.
All so that you may acquire the strength you need. All for a purpose.
I've got you. Finally.
Let's keep listening.
If we don't act now, we'll miss our chance.
Even if someone has overheard us, there is nothing they can do. There have always been rats in the walls, and there always will be.
No. The dagger. No, never mind. It couldn't possibly be so. Professor, those are the ones we must destroy. They're the bastards who killed my family, and Geralt. For now, let's return to the monastery and regroup. As for the Flame Emperor's dagger, I'll hold on to it for the time being.
You don't look busy. Join me for some training, Boar Prince.
And here I thought you had no desire to speak with me.
We don't need to speak to clash swords, do we?
I suppose not. Is that one new? Wait. Where did you get such a blade?
I suppose you would recognize its value. I came upon a merchant selling weapons and found this among the rest of the steel.
That pattern around the edge. There's no doubt. It was forged by Zoltan, the master swordsmith.
I'm not giving it to you.
Huh? Oh, I'm just happy to have laid eyes on it. I don't suppose you'd allow me the chance to hold it.
Do you take me for a fool? I'm not letting a brute like you swing it around.
As though I would be careless with something so valuable.
I recall when you were 9 years old, you swung a sword so hard you snapped it clean in two.
Come now, that was so long ago. I'm hardly the fool I was then.
So you say. Yet House Fraldarius still told that story for years.
What's wrong, Felix?
How pointless. No use talking about someone who's long dead. Looking at your face is making me angry. I'm going to find a different training partner. Farewell, your beastliness.
What is going on with him?
Hello?
Oh, hello. Have you been there long? I was absorbed in this book.
Another silly legend?
First of all, they're not silly. And second of all, no. It's an essay that speaks to uncommon and challenging battle scenarios. I've been researching such things since you proposed your unique strategy. Listen to this. Your commander gives orders that put your hometown in extreme danger. Do you carry out the orders or protect your hometown?
What nonsense. I was talking about real-world tactics, not some dumb ethical question.
Whatever your personal feelings on the matter, I see similarities between such tactics and these dumb ethical questions. I haven't read beyond this one, but I think the obvious answer is to follow your commander. The duty and pride of being a knight demand that you follow orders, regardless of your own feelings. But if I were put in such a position, I don't know how I'd fare. In fact, were someone to carry out those orders, I know that I'd attempt to stop them.
Stop bothering with all this. You're not meant to be a knight. Go find a husband.
Excuse me?
You heard me.
I know you hate the ideals of chivalry and pride. So much so, you prefer to escape your duty as your family's heir. You have no right to criticize me for my ideals.
Perhaps not. At least I know not to heedlessly obey orders. I know not to romanticize blind obedience. My brother taught me to think for myself.
Don't you dare bring Glenn into this.
You're right. Forget it.
Oh, is something hiding just behind that book?
A small leather bag, and inside it, a ring.
That ring! I have seen it before. Ah, I know. Geralt showed that ring to you beside a grave. Do you recall? He said he wished for you to have that ring one day. That means it's yours. He also said that you should gift that ring to someone special.
Picking up the ring so I can get 30.
Professor, have you heard? They say we finally located the enemy. It seems they're hiding in the sealed forest, right near the monastery. Lady Rhea has summoned all of the knights to return and take them down. And all of this is being done in secret. Why? To keep us... no. To keep you in the dark.
Why the secrecy?
Lady Rhea likely assumed you wouldn't be able to stop yourself from confronting the enemy if you knew their location. But that is not how the story ends, is it? Professor, we're at the ready. Order us to depart, and we'll fight at your side.
No, I will not allow it.
This discovery comes just when the knights are at their busiest. It is all too likely that our foes revealed themselves to lure you out there. They are the ones who took Geralt from you. I know how you must despise them, but I must ask you to rein in your personal feelings for now.
You can't stop me.
Please, Professor, do not act carelessly. I ask that you leave this to us. Losing you so soon after losing Geralt would be unbearable.
Lady Rhea, Seteth, please try to understand our reasoning before you refuse. With most of the knights still far away, we cannot afford for you two to leave the monastery undefended. The enemy's strength is yet unknown. The only warriors who likely stand a chance are those who wield relics. With all that in mind, it's obvious who should be dispatched, is it not? If the professor leaves, we will go as well. We've already made preparations and are ready to depart at a moment's notice. Surely you must see that we cannot wait any longer for the knights to gather. Please, do what must be done and give us the order.
Professor, do you agree with this strategy? Understood. I will give you the order. Destroy the enemy that is hiding in the sealed forest. You have the protection of the goddess on your side. Whatever happens, you shall overcome.
No matter what enemy we face, we will not fail. I promise you that.
Your Highness, sorry, I mean Dimitri, would you, do you want to train together today?
Ash, of course, I'm glad you asked. After classes conclude for the day, meet me at the training ground. I'll be waiting, and afterward, let's plan on dinner. We'll certainly have worked up an appetite.
Oh, yes, I suppose, I mean, sure, that is, it would be my pleasure to dine with you. I mean,
Ash.
I'm sorry, Your Highness. I'm just no good at this. I'll do my best to improve.
Are you still worrying over what I said to you before?
I'm trying to do as you asked, but it's just completely against my nature.
Trust me, I understand the urge to show respect where it is due. However, that is not the case here. Yes, I was brought up in a different family and raised in a different way, but otherwise, you and I are the same.
That all makes sense, Your Highness. But I just can't bring myself to speak to you in such a casual way. Sure, when you get right down to it, royalty like you and common folk like me, we're all just people. But the common folk still rely on the nobility to keep the peace and to keep them safe. Commoners pay the price for that in taxes and respect. That's what Lonato says.
I suppose I can understand that point of view. But the flaw in your logic is that I am not king just yet.
But that's not all there is to it. I also respect you as a person. You carry the weight of the whole kingdom on your shoulders. You're a faultless warrior, and you're always so kind to your allies. Even me.
On all accounts, I can say the same of you, but you also have a strong heart. I can't say that about myself. No matter the circumstance, you are never drawn toward darkness. That mindset of yours has done me well on countless occasions.
Well, I do my best. So I guess mutual respect between us is what's really the most appropriate.
Precisely. Which means there's never any need to be nervous or uncomfortable around one another. It seems we may have circled back to where we started with this conversation, but let's at least agree that we both should learn to bend a bit. How's that sound?
All right. Let's start from the beginning then. Would you like to train with me today, Your Highness?
Of course, Ash. Come at me with everything you've got.
Your Highness? Why are you in my room?
Sorry, I need to hide in here, just for a while. I'll have you know this is all your fault.
Hide? From who?
It's, a girl from the academy.
I'm sorry, it's a what?
This is all because of your insistence that I go and ask a girl out.
You didn't give her a dagger, did you? Is that why you're hiding? Does she have a dagger, Dimitri?
Look, you kept true to your promise to improve your behavior. So I felt it was only right to make good on my side of the bargain, too.
You invited a girl to dinner, and now she's chasing you around. What's the big deal? Unless... Did you use one of my pickup lines? Those words are dangerous in the wrong hands. With me, people know a line's a line and I'm joking. But you... Nobody's ever accused you of being funny.
I clearly underestimated the difficulty of the task. But... what do I do now?
Relax, Your Highness. Relax. I'll sort this whole thing out real easy. All we have to do is figure out how to make this girl lose interest in you. And making girls lose interest is what I'm best at. You just wait right there, and I'll fix everything.
It was my naivete that brought this about. I cannot place this immense burden on your shoulders.
This is no job for an amateur. You need a professional's help. Trying to do everything yourself has never served you so well, so just leave this to the master. Even the dagger incident could have been avoided if you had just talked with me beforehand.
There wasn't time for consultation. I only learned she was leaving on the day of her departure.
Whatever you say. The point is, you need to learn to rely on me for these types of things in the future. For now, I got this. And if I ever need help with something you know how to help with, then maybe you can do the same for me.
Sylvain. Very well. When that time comes, I promise to help you as best I can. A Knight of Faerghus never goes back on his word. Isn't that right? You're a good man, Sylvain. I'm sorry to do this to you. Best of luck.
Please, Your Highness. I've spent years honing my skills for just this situation. Watch and learn.
The sealed forest is up ahead. Stay alert.
This is for Captain Gerald. I will not falter.
It is time to repay the kindness of the professor who saved my life.
Leave it to us, Professor. I'll give it my all.
Fighting Tomas. It will be difficult, that's for certain.
I don't really love the idea of fighting people I know.
We don't have a choice. Even if it's difficult, an enemy is an enemy. We've just got to get it over with.
Just kill them from behind. As long as you don't see their faces, you won't know if you know them.
We won't know unless we see their face. Yes, I suppose that is true. Professor, I hope you know I meant what I told you before. Your enemy is my enemy. And I will follow you until the end. Whatever that end may be.
That's reassuring.
Yes, right. We'll fulfill our duty together. We've come this far. We can't stop now. I hope you know that you can rely on us. No matter who the enemy is, we are prepared to cut them down. Yes. No matter who they may be. Demonic beasts! The enemy was always intending to lure us here.
Hello, you're here. Welcome to the Forest of Death. My name is Kranya. This weakling girl was just a borrowed look for me. This is what I really look like. Now, you vermin, I'll take down every last one of you.
The time has come to get Cronky the Clown killed. Yeah. We begin with a stride.
Much appreciated.
And Dimitri is a war master. He got very lucky with a 45% success rate for promotion.
I'll give it my all.
Ash is a hero now.
That's how it goes.
We've also done Sophis' Paralogue, so we've picked up our first of 2 knowledge gems. The other one obviously being from chapter 11, but we've yet to do that. So we can't pick up the second one yet. Felix is also a hero. Sylvain is a dark bishop.
Stay focused.
Lysithia is a war monk, so she can tank hits a bit better.
Each battle, a chance.
I know I love you, Ferdy Von Eyre.
I'm on it. Gonna need you to move.
Leave it to me. This is what I do. I have to try harder.
I am Ferdinand von Eyre.
Here we go.
Thanks so much.
Oh, how cute! You're trying so hard! But now it's time to die!
Am I stuck?
What should I do?
If this takes too long, I might be forced to escape. Oh, or do you simply intend to let me go? How accommodating of you. As for me, I intend to kill you all.
Give up. Not good enough. Weak. A threat eliminated.
I must steel myself. I can't lose. Doing my part.
Predictable. Should I have held back?
Easy.
What's next?
you were outmatched. That helps.
Good enough for me.
Don't mess this up. Of course I won.
And that's phase 1 done.
I guess I feel a little stronger.
But how? How could I really lose? To a lowly creature like you?
Well,
Solon, don't just stand there and stare. I need your help.
yes, you most certainly do.
Huh?
Have no fear, Kranya. Your sacrifice will help to rid this world of the filthy vermin that have long infested it. The time has finally come to unleash the forbidden spell of Zaharas upon our enemies!
Please, help me.
Be gone with you, Felstar.
What was that sorcery? What happened to our professor?
They were swallowed by the mystical darkness of the forbidden spell. An eternity wandering in a void of nothingness, never to return to this world. To think, we almost had the sword of the Creator.
That's a lie! There's no way the professor is really dead. That's right. Our professor is no ordinary human.
I do not believe our professor has fallen.
It is possible that death has yet to find your friend, but there are worse things than death, drifting through the darkness with no chance of escape, overwhelmed with hopelessness. It must be torturous.
We cannot abandon hope, Your Highness. Our professor lives. I know it.
You're right. We will save the professor. But first, I'll slice you into 1,000 pieces as you watch with horror. You will know true pain before I finally allow you to die!
How trite. But if you wish for pain, I shall oblige. If you prefer it so, you shall also be added to the ranks of the dead.
You fool! What were you thinking, charging right into an enemy's trap? Are you just a boulder that rolls down whatever hill it's on?
I can explain.
Excuses won't help us! This darkness is terrifying! As you and I are one, I too am trapped within this void. But please consider this. This realm of darkness we are in is separate from the world from which you came. I mean that it would take a god to leave this place. In time, our hearts and minds will cease to be. Are you prepared to die?
I am not.
I thought as much. I also do not wish to die. And yet, there is no other choice.
What choice?
Do you recall your father's diary? He said you were a child who never cried nor laughed. I think I am the one to blame. I must have been asleep, but even then...
2 hours, 10 minutes, 2
I was a
seconds.
part of you. I do not
Somehow,
know how Rhea
I know it
managed
to be true.
but she allowed me to exist inside of you. The truth is, I have always been with you. It is within you that I found my power yet again. The power of a goddess. The power of the progenitor god. My name is Sothis. By now, you must be well aware of what that means. I am the one who watches over Fódlan and the creatures dwelling there. I am Sothis. She who died and then returned. There is but one thing left to do to save us from this darkness of eternity. I must now use the power of a god. However, I lack a body of my own. And so I must relinquish all the power that I have to you. The time has come for you and I to join as one. And when that comes to pass, then I shall disappear.
Disappear? I won't allow it.
When I say disappear, I do not mean that all I am will be no more. My soul will join with yours, and you and I will never be apart. But I will no longer have the chance to speak with you. I shall miss it. So long have I been on this path with you. Through you, I got to see and hear this world. I even got to chastise you from time to time. I may not have acted like a goddess, but it was certainly fun. For all that you have done, thank you. I'm glad that it was you to whom my fate was bound.
Thank you for everything.
Now, we must pray. For if we share this wish, our spirits too will join as one. Your wish is to return to the forest, stop the enemy, and rescue the little ones. No need for words. I know your heart as though it were my own. Your will and mine are now as one. Both sides of time are revealed to you, and you alone. You know I am the beginning. What shall you do?
So the Fellstar consumes even the darkness itself.
Professor, that is you, isn't it? Oh, I'm glad you are safe. I was sure that you would return. Please tell me all that happened to you later. For now, it's imperative that we kill the demon.
What did you see in the darkness of Zaharas? This would be impossible. The only being that can withstand that darkness is... Unless I dispose of you myself, I may never have the chance to send you back there.
Walked Dimitri all the way up and over. I really could have just walked up to Byleth and walked her up one, but that would be too easy. Besides, we need a little bit of experience. Just a little bit.
Thank you.
I don't ask for much on experience, but I know that I have fun with it.
You fought well. The glory of progress.
This'll take some strategy.
Another win. I haven't...
Too slow! This battle is over! You never had a chance. For His Highness! It's... I will not hold back!
I will...
It's all becoming clearer.
I could learn from that.
I have no time to waste on the likes of you. that I would lose to mere beasts.
Is this power really mine?
But this is not the end. Tullus will carry out our mission somehow.
Tullus? Does he also serve the Flame Emperor? It can't be. Professor, I'm glad you're okay. And you seem relatively unscathed. I'm so relieved. What's more, Geralt's foe is dead, though we took little satisfaction from it. Professor, I must ask, what happened after we were separated? You look different.
The goddess gifted me her power.
The goddess appeared and gave you her power? It's as though the legend of old has been made flesh. It's hard to grasp, in all honesty. But having seen you pierce the sky with my own eyes, I find myself unable to doubt it.
A legend of old?
Yes, the legend of Saint Seros. It is said that she received a divine revelation from the goddess and was gifted with her power. Long ago, the goddess dispatched Seros to defeat an evil king who went mad with power. Perhaps the goddess saw the goodness of Seros within you too, and wished to help you in your quest to defeat evil. If you're Seros, granted power by the goddess, then I suppose that makes me... never mind. I'm getting carried away. Professor, what's wrong? Are you asleep? What is happening these days? Well, it matters not. We must get you help, and fast. Sorry, Professor, but I have no choice but to carry you back.
In time's flow, see the glow of flames ever burning bright on the swift rivers drift, broken memories alight.
Professor, you must remain still.
What happened?
Everything is all right. There is no need to worry. Those who are trying to harm you are far away. How lovely it would be for this moment to last forever. I wish I could hold on to this time we have stolen, that you and I could create a world without end. I have heard whispers of what happened to you, your appearance. You have received power from the goddess. From the moment you took hold of the sword of the Creator, I prayed that one day the radiant power of Sothis, which bathes Fódlan in its celestial light, might reside within you. But you are so much more than the light. You are my... Close your eyes, dear one. Sleep just a while longer. I will be watching over you, always. Always and forever.
Part 1. White Clouds. Pegasus Moon. Throne of Knowledge. The northern lands are enveloped in a bitter cold, and frigid winds are carried across the sea to the south of Adrestia. When feather-white snow falls on Fódlan's locket, the fort looks as delicate as a pearl. However, beneath that snowy blanket, her throat is more treacherous than ever.
Rhea, please, talk to me. What are you hiding? What is the meaning of how that one looks? It is almost as though...
As I said, there is nothing of which to speak, for now. At the end of this month...
I read Gerald's diary. I happened upon it in his room.
What?
In it, he stated the reason for his departure. The baby, thought to have died in the fire, has returned to us. Gerald realized that you had done something to the child and decided to flee. What did you do to that baby, Rhea? Nothing questionable, I should hope.
Setteth enough. They will be here shortly. No more, I beg of you. I will take our dear professor to the Holy Tomb. There, I should be able to see our dearest wishes to fruition. When I was young, I heard her voice there. I'm sure of it. You may enter. I have been awaiting your arrival, Professor. Now that you have received sacred power from the goddess, there is somewhere you must pay a visit to at once. You must go to the Holy Tomb so that you may receive a divine revelation from the goddess.
A revelation?
The Holy Tomb is where the goddess sleeps. This monastery was originally built for the purpose of protecting that hallowed temple.
Only a select few know of it, but there is a legend about Seiros and the Holy Tomb. Saint Seiros, the first soul to be gifted power from the goddess, received her revelation there. She was told that it was her sacred duty to save the people of Fódlan, and that she must use her power wisely in order to lead them. The words that were handed down to Seiros from the goddess will likely fall upon your ears as well.
Prepare yourself to go at once. There, may you find out why you were blessed with such power.
There will be a ceremony at the Holy Tomb. It is then that you will receive the goddess's revelation. You may share this mission with your students.
Do you think it wise to bring them into this?
It is said that when Seiros received the revelation, she had holy warriors by her side protecting her. Your students, who have followed you and fought alongside you through the darkest of times, are well suited to stand by you for the ceremony. Of course, as the leader of the Church of Seiros, I will be by your side as well.
Isn't that too dangerous?
The Holy Tomb is a sacred temple that is sealed off from the rest of the world. There is nothing to fear. Even if something were to happen, I am more than capable of protecting myself.
Much has changed, but your duty has not wavered. Steel your mind for the ceremony and prepare your students well.
Okay, now that you know the technique, go ahead and solve this problem.
Ah, I've got it. Finally.
See? Isn't it fun to learn?
Absolutely. You're great at this, you know. You really seem to have all the answers. I wish I could study and just soak up knowledge like you. How did you get so good at this?
Well, studying was something of a necessity for me.
What do you mean?
My father was one of the king's knights. One day, he never returned home. He just left without ever saying a word to me or my mother.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Losing a father so suddenly? I completely understand.
After he left, I thought a lot about where he might have gone. My father was a devout believer, so I was certain he must have come here, to Garreg Mach.
Here? Really?
That's why I was determined to gain acceptance into the academy. I needed to come here so I could search for my father. The problem was that I needed money to get in. Lots of it. And I didn't have any at all. So I entered the School of Sorcery in Ferdiyad first, hoping I could somehow find a path here. I studied tirelessly until I finally earned myself a recommendation.
Oh, wow. So for you, studying has been like a way to meet your destiny.
Destiny, huh? Well, yes, but it's a bit embarrassing when you put it like that. Now I have other reasons for wanting to keep trying hard. I want to protect all of my friends and allies here. I'm studying hard so I can be as useful as possible to everyone I hold dear.
You've worked so hard. I really respect that. I'm going to follow your example. Happy! I've been looking everywhere for you.
What's going on? Something urgent?
Oh no. But I promised to tell you the rest of the Luna Knight's tale, remember?
Huh. I've forgotten all about that. If you really want to tell the story that badly, I guess just go ahead.
Okay, I will. Do you remember where I left off?
Well, you were telling me something about how the Luna Knight was hard on liars and cheaters.
Right. So her husband, Duke Regan, turns out to be a bit of a libertine.
That's hilarious. My favorite part was when she caught her husband in the act and tossed him out the window. I thought tales about knights were supposed to be straight-laced, but this one's raunchy as heck.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Usually these tales are pretty serious. But sometimes in a serious story, you need lighter moments like that to connect to the characters. It helps to see that even these great heroes made mistakes now and again. Just like us.
You're so trusting, Freckles. For some reason, I find it endearing. But you shouldn't take something at face value just because it's written down. The truth is, knights do plenty of things that aren't heroic at all. Things that hurt people.
You're not wrong. Some knights do terrible things. That doesn't make the great ones any less worthy of honor, though.
What about knights who have died taking a stand against the church? Would you call them great?
That's complicated.
Or what about the knights who put me in Abyss, promising to release me from my curse? When they couldn't, they left me there out of fear for what I might do. Does that sound honorable to you?
Abby, I'm so sorry.
Sorry. I can't help but say nasty things. Got any more stories for me? Maybe another racy one?
Yes, actually. I came prepared with the most racy ones I could find, in case you happen to ask.
Of course you did. Let's hear one then.
A revelation from the goddess. To think we'll have the honor of attending such a historical event.
I hear the Archbishop will accompany us to the Holy Tomb.
If something happens to her, all of Fódlan will suffer. We must protect her at all costs.
This may sound mad, but perhaps we don't have to worry so much about that. Lady Rhea has said before that she is capable of protecting herself. I have a feeling that is true. I thought it was a strange thing for her to say. And beyond that, her movements bring to mind a great warrior with an extensive military background.
Who is Rhea, really?
I wonder. Mind, it's also possible that I'm way off track. Regardless, perhaps we should brace ourselves for anything.
I never imagined attending a ceremony for a real revelation.
I wonder what the ceremony will be like. Oh, I'm so nervous. I'm not ready for this.
There's no chance for battle unless something goes terribly wrong, right? Oh, boring.
If you keep saying things like that, something bad is bound to happen.
What's wrong, Flame? You look like you have something on your mind.
Who, me? No. It is nothing. May we all see this through to the end.
Your Highness, I will protect you no matter what. Your Highness?
You haven't seemed like yourself lately.
I haven't been sleeping well recently, and my head aches. But no need to worry. Let's focus on the task at hand. It's about time for Lady Rhea to arrive. Let's all steel ourselves for whatever may occur at this ceremony.
Are you surprised, Professor? This is the Holy Tomb.
Incredible. To think such a vast space has been hiding beneath the monastery all this time. I wonder what powers that giant mechanism that descends beneath the ground.
This is where the goddess who created this world was laid to rest, along with her children. It is said that our creator, the goddess Sothis, sat upon this very throne. Professor, do you recognize this throne?
I do.
So long. I have waited so very long for this day. Sit upon the throne. I have no doubt you will be gifted a revelation from the goddess. Well? It was supposed to be but a step away. What could possibly be missing?
Halt! Reveal yourself!
Don't move, any of you. If you move, your lives will be forfeit. Thank you ever so much for guiding us this far. The Imperial Army will now take possession of everything in the Holy Tomb.
Why is the Imperial Army here?
This can't be. How did they get into Garreg Mach?
Even the Flame Emperor is here. That can only mean...
The Flame Emperor is connected to the Empire. What do you know?
I never imagined you'd have the nerve to return here. What are you after, Flame Emperor?
Is it not obvious? The Holy Tomb contains great power. The power to rule all of Fódlan.
And to attain that power, you'll trample anything that stands in your way. Just like you did in Duscur.
I had nothing to do with that. Quickly retrieve the crest stones. Kill for them if you must.
Insolence! You will atone for the sin of trampling on this holy resting place. Professor, destroy these villainous traitors who dare dishonor our Creator. I will not allow such violence from the Empire. Strike down the rebels and protect the Holy Tomb.
The crest stones are in the caskets! Open every last one of them!
The Holy Tomb must not be desecrated. Protect as many of the crest stones as you can.
Protect the crest stones. If they're stolen, you can get them back by defeating the foes that have them. You can earn rewards based on how many crest stones you recover.
These tombs and disgracing the dead.
He has a good point. Dimitri has a very good point. Now, this was a mistake because I really should have had Stride.
I am Ferdinand von Eyre.
I love you, Ferdy, so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Really should have had Stride on probably somebody better than Happy, to be honest.
Leave it to me. Here we go.
I'm on it.
Gonna need you to move!
What's next?
I'll go.
I'll cut through.
Time is now. Who's next?
It's...
I'll give it my all. I got it! I must steel myself.
Had to be done. You can rely on me.
Stay focused. You fought well. Such power dwells within?
You were outmatched.
Splendor of nobility!
This was beneath me.
Enlightening.
You're out of luck.
Take away the crescent stones. All of them.
That is enough. Do you even know what those stones are?
Saw that coming. Too slow. Weak. Saw that coming. Now's our chance.
It's time. That is that. Ha! Thank you. It's over. You fought well.
Let's win this already.
I won that?
I just worked harder. My efforts are paying off.
Victory is assured. Only a fool challenges me. Stand down. I must stay focused.
I will handle whatever comes.
Ineffective.
Each battle, a chance to grow. No hesitation. You fought well.
one.
I'll prove myself! That's how it goes.
I can fight through anything.
Should I have held back?
That's what you get.
It's our chance to prevent. Who's next?
That is that.
Move carefully. I must steel myself.
I am Ferdinand von Eyre. Be gone.
I'm told it's fine to kill those who resist. Now then, how shall I cook you?
Make them suffer.
Now I think there's unique dialogue between Dimitri and the Flame Emperor here.
You are the one person I did not wish to make an enemy of.
But we will not get to see that.
Predictable. It's over.
And that's why. Now I have to come back to an old meme that I started
Another
before
step
this game's
forward.
release.
Is this some kind of twisted joke? I've been looking for you. I will take that head from your shoulders and hang it from the gates of Endmar! Stop right there!
This pleases the blue lion. I used to put that on that Dimitri face every single tweet. Every time Nintendo would tweet about this game.
Before I break your neck, there is one thing I must ask you.
Stay out of my way.
I don't recall giving you permission to speak. Answer my question. That is all you have left to do. Flame Emperor. No. Edelgard. Tell me now. Why did you cause such a tragedy? You killed your own mother, and yet you haven't even had the decency to stop and consider the reasons behind your actions. Have you?
I already told you I had nothing to do with that.
It was foolish to think I could reason with a lowly beast.
Your Majesty, no!
You are a monster.
Come, Hubert.
To flee is futile, wicked girl. The Church of Seiros will raise its entire army against you until you have been captured and punished. You have defiled the Holy Tomb, dishonored the goddess, and humiliated your brethren. That crime will never be erased. Even if you burn in the eternal flames and spill all of your blood into the goddess's soil. Come, Professor. Let us return and decide upon our next course of action.
Are you okay? I can't believe it. Edelgard.
We weren't able to defeat her.
Your Highness.
I will kill Edelgard with my own hands. I swear it! Let's return to the monastery, Professor. It is clear what must be done.
When you look, frame by frame, at where Dimitri is dodging the guards, look at his eyes. He has a sick expression on his face. It's so beautiful. So exquisite.
So, he's finally shown his true face. The same Dimitri I've seen once before. A beast who loves spilling blood.
You're wrong. I'm sure of it. There has to be an explanation.
I knew he'd been carrying the burden of that tragedy. I understand his thirst for revenge. His family and closest friends, all massacred right in front of him. But it still doesn't add up. There must be more that we don't know.
That's true. Dimitri didn't come unhinged until after the Flame Emperor was unmasked.
You don't think there's some connection between those two, do you?
The leaders of the Church have misused its creed to fulfill their true desire. To rule the world. They have fooled the people of Fódlan. Long ago, they divided the Empire to create a kingdom. And then, divided that kingdom to create an alliance. They did all of this to make the masses bicker amongst themselves. They caused instability in order to reinforce their own authority. They gathered gold and lived in extravagance. How? by preying on the devotion of those who wished for the goddess's salvation. Those corrupt hypocrites cannot lead Fódlan to true peace. Their foul belief system must be torn asunder so that true wisdom may finally prevail. And so, I have decided, by order of the Adrestian Emperor, Edelgard von Hresvelg, the Empire hereby declares war on the Church of Seiros.
I cannot believe it. Let us recount the situation as it stands, Professor. After you returned from the Holy Tomb, the Adrestian Empire declared war upon the Church of Seiros, as well as our allies.
Declared war?
Edelgard demanded her own father relinquish the throne, and then assumed the position of Emperor. She has deemed the Church of Seiros to be an evil of this world, and is calling upon the people of Fódlan to help her tear it down. I must discuss our response to this declaration with the Archbishop, after the Knights return from their investigation. Until then, watch over the students. See that they remain calm.
Professor, the Empire has declared war on the Church of Seiros.
We knew this day would come, sooner or later.
What's going to happen?
Don't worry. We need more information.
We can't afford to be optimistic. It's entirely possible the kingdom will be invaded.
Settle yourself, Ingrid. We need to carefully consider our options.
We can't just act rashly. That will only make things worse.
Once we've ascertained the situation, we must return to Ferdiad. Your Highness,